The red sand of Kepler-4 to be stretched endlessly under the alien sky. Dr. Maya Rodriguez wiped sweat from her forehead as she watched the drilling machine work. The massive device had been digging for 3 days straight, boring deep into the planet's surface. "How much deeper do we need to go?" asked Jake Thompson, the team's rock expert. He stood next to Maya, looking tired. "The heat on this planet was brutal, even with their cooling suits." "The readings show something big down there," Maya replied. "Maybe another kilometer or 2. Lisa Park walked over to them, carrying her scanner. She was the team's expert on alien life forms. "I'm getting strange readings," she said. "It's not rock down there. It's something else." Maya looked at the scanner display. The numbers didn't make sense. Whatever was buried deep below them was made of metal. But that was impossible. This planet had no intelligent life. The survey teams had checked twice before they came here. "Could it be a meteor?" Jake asked. "Sometimes metal rocks fall from space." Lisa shook her head. "No meteor looks like this. The shape is too regular, too planned." The drilling machine suddenly stopped. Its engine went quiet. The 3 scientists looked at each other with worry. "What happened?" Maya called to the machine operator. "We hit something hard," the man replied. "The drill won't go any deeper." Maya felt her heart beat faster. After 6 months of searching old ruins on this planet, they might have found something important. She grabbed her equipment and walked to the drill site. The hole was 3 kilometers deep. Maya lowered a camera down the shaft. The screen showed something that made her gasp. At the bottom of the hole was a smooth, dark surface. It reflected the camera's light like a mirror. "That's not natural," Jake whispered, looking over her shoulder. Maya nodded. She had studied old civilizations for 15 years. She knew the difference between natural rock and something made by intelligent beings. This was definitely artificial. "We need to get down there," she said. It took them 4 hours to set up the equipment to go down the shaft. Maya went first, lowering herself on a rope. Jake and Lisa followed. At the bottom, they found themselves standing on a metal platform that stretched beyond their flashlight beams. The surface was perfectly smooth, and made of a material Maya had never seen before. It was darker than black, but somehow seemed to glow with its own light. When she touched it, it felt warm. "This is incredible," Lisa said, running her hands over the surface. "What kind of metal is this?" Jake was taking readings with his scanner. "It's not showing up on any of our instruments. Whatever this is, it's not in our databases." Maya walked around the platform, looking for any signs of writing or symbols. The surface was completely blank, but as she moved, she noticed something strange. The platform seemed to respond to her presence. Where she walked, the surface became slightly brighter. "Guys," she called to the others. "Come look at this." Jake and Lisa joined her. As all 3 humans stood together, the platform began to change. Lines of light appeared on the surface, forming complex patterns. The patterns moved and shifted, like a computer screen coming to life. "It's reacting to us," Lisa said with excitement. "It knows we're here." The light patterns grew brighter. Then, without warning, the entire platform began to vibrate. A low sound filled the air, so deep they felt it in their bones rather than heard it with their ears. "We should go back up," Jake said nervously. "This doesn't feel safe." But Maya was fascinated. She had never seen anything like this. The patterns on the surface were beautiful and complex. They reminded her of star maps she had seen in old Earth books. The vibration grew stronger. Their equipment began to malfunction. Lisa's scanner started making strange noises. Jake's flashlight flickered on and off. "Something's happening," Maya said. She could feel the platform changing beneath her feet. The metal surface was warming up. Above them, a bright light appeared at the top of the shaft. Maya looked up and saw something that made her blood run cold. The light was moving toward them, coming down the shaft fast. "Run," she shouted. But there was nowhere to go. The platform was surrounded by solid walls. They were trapped 3 kilometers underground with something unknown and potentially dangerous. The light reached them. It wasn't harmful, but it was incredibly bright. Maya closed her eyes and felt a strange tingling sensation all over her body. The platform was scanning them, learning about them. Then everything went dark. When Maya woke up, she was lying on the surface. Jake and Lisa were next to her, unconscious, but breathing. Above them, the sky was darker. They had been underground for hours. Commander Alex Hayes of the research ship Aurora was kneeling beside them. "Dr. Rodriguez, can you hear me?" he asked. Maya sat up slowly. Her head hurt, but she was alive. "What happened? How did we get up here?" "We received your distress signal," Alex said. "When we arrived, you were all lying next to the drill site. You've been unconscious for 3 hours." Maya looked at the drill hole. It was now filled with a strange blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "The platform," she said. "We found something down there." "What kind of something?" Alex asked. Before Maya could answer, the blue light suddenly shot up into the sky. It formed a beam that disappeared into space, carrying a message to unknown recipients across the galaxy. "I think," Maya said quietly, "we just woke something up." Far across the galaxy, on distant worlds, ancient sensors detected the signal. Beings that had hoped never to hear that particular transmission again looked up at their skies with fear. The sleeping giants were awakening. The humans had found what was meant to stay buried. The discovery on Kepler-4 for 2b would change everything. Maya and her team didn't know it yet, but they had just triggered events that would shake the entire galaxy. The war relics of an ancient human civilization were stirring to life, and the other species of the galaxy remembered why they had worked so hard to make sure humanity forgot its past. The signal traveled through space, reaching ears that had hoped never to hear it again. On a dozen worlds, emergency meetings were called. Ancient treaties were reviewed. Weapons were prepared. Humanity's peaceful exploration of space had just become something much more dangerous. The blue signal from Kepler-4 for to be traveled across the galaxy at impossible speeds. On the water world of Zephoria Prime, High Arbiter Kethfer watched the message appear on his communication screen. His 4 arms trembled as he read the ancient code. "It cannot be," he whispered. "The sleeping giants are supposed to be gone forever." Kethfer was old, even by his people's standards. He had lived through the Great Forgetting, when the galaxy had worked together to erase humanity's memory of their true power. He remembered the fear that had gripped every species when humans first appeared in space with their terrible weapons and unstoppable fleets. "Call the council," he ordered his assistant. "Send word to every world. The humans have found one of their old sites." Within hours, emergency meetings were taking place across the galaxy. The hegemony, the collective, the Free Worlds Alliance, all the major powers received the same terrifying message. The code was unmistakable. After 50,000 years, humanity's ancient guardians were stirring. On Kepler-4, for 2b, Maya Rodriguez stood in the command center of the Aurora, trying to make sense of what had happened. The headache from her underground experience was finally fading, but the questions remained. "The signal went out about 6 hours ago," Commander Alex Hayes explained. "Our sensors tracked it as far as the edge of the system before we lost it." "What kind of signal?" Maya asked. "We don't know. It was unlike anything in our databases. The pattern was complex, like a language we've never heard before." Jake Thompson walked into the room, still looking shaky from their underground adventure. "I've been analyzing the metal samples we managed to collect," he said. "This material doesn't exist in any known periodic table. It's like it's made of elements that shouldn't be possible." Lisa Park joined them, carrying a tablet full of data. "I've been studying the biological effects of our exposure to that platform. Whatever scanned us down there, it was incredibly advanced. It mapped our DNA, our brain patterns, even our memories. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. It was studying us. More than that, Lisa said. It was verifying us, like it was checking to see if we were the right species. Before anyone could ask what that meant, the Aurora's communication system came alive with incoming messages. Dozens of them, from every direction in space. Commander Hayes, the ship's communication officer, called out, "We're receiving transmission requests from everyone. The Zephyrian Council, the Hegemony, the Collective. They all want to talk to us." Alex looked surprised. All of them, at once. "Sir, there are over 30 alien fleets moving toward our position. They'll be here within 2 days. Maya's heart sank. In all her years of archaeological work, she had never seen aliens react this strongly to a human discovery. Usually, they were polite but distant. Now they were mobilizing entire fleets. "We need to go back down there," she said. "We need to understand what we found before those fleets arrive." "Absolutely not," Alex replied. "It's too dangerous. You were unconscious for 3 hours. We don't know what that thing did to you." But Maya was already walking toward the transport shuttles. "With respect, Commander, this is the most important archaeological discovery in human history. We can't just ignore it." Jake and Lisa followed her. They were scientists, and their curiosity was stronger than their fear. An hour later, they were back at the drill site. The blue light was still pulsing from the depths, but it was fainter now. Maya looked down the shaft with new equipment, hoping to see what had changed. "The platform is gone," she said with surprise. "The whole thing has moved." Jake checked his scanners. "It's deeper now, maybe another kilometer down, and it's bigger. It's growing," Lisa added. "The structure is expanding underground." Maya made a decision that would change everything. "We're going down again." This time, they were better prepared. They brought more equipment, better lights, and emergency communication devices. The descent took longer because they had to go deeper. When they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a vast underground chamber. The walls were covered in the same dark metal as the platform, but now they could see that it formed a complex pattern. The chamber was enormous, stretching beyond their lights in all directions. "This is impossible," Jake whispered. "How could something this big be hidden underground?" Maya walked toward the center of the chamber. As she moved, lights began to appear along the walls. They were soft and blue, like the signal that had shot into space. The lights followed her movement, creating a path. "It wants us to follow," she said. The path led them deeper into the complex. They passed through corridors filled with strange devices and empty rooms that looked like they were once used for sleeping. Everything was perfectly preserved, as if the people who built it had just left. "People," Maya said suddenly. "This was built by people. The proportions are all wrong for aliens." Lisa looked around with new eyes. "You're right. These doorways are human-sized. These rooms are designed for human comfort." They reached a large central chamber where the walls were covered in screens. As they entered, the screens came to life, showing star maps and information in a language that looked almost familiar. "I've seen writing like this before," Maya said, "in the oldest human archaeological sites on Earth. But this is more advanced, more complete." One of the screens showed a countdown timer. The numbers were in the same almost familiar script, but the meaning was clear. Something was going to happen in less than 24 hours. "We need to get back to the surface," Jake said. "This is way beyond anything we can handle." But as they turned to leave, the chamber's main screen activated. A face appeared, clearly human, but wearing technology that Maya had never seen before. The figure began to speak. "Greetings, descendants," the recorded message said in perfect English. "If you are seeing this, then humanity has reached the stars again. I am Guardian Protocol 7, the keeper of this facility." Maya's legs felt weak. "That's impossible," Humans have only been in space for 200 years. The recording continued. You have forgotten your true history, as was planned, but the galaxy has not forgotten. They fear what you once were, and what you might become again. That is why they are coming. The screen showed images of the alien fleets approaching. Kepler-4 for to be. The Guardian system had been monitoring their movements. This facility is one of many built by your ancestors to protect humanity's children. For 50,000 years, we have waited. Now we must choose. Awaken to reclaim your birthright, or remain hidden and hope the galaxy allows you to survive. Maya stared at the screen in shock. 50,000 years. That's impossible. Human civilization is only a few thousand years old. Your ancestors fled to Earth after the Great Convergence War, the Guardian continued. They chose to forget their technology, their power, their very identity, to ensure their children would survive. But survival is no longer guaranteed. The galaxy moves against you. The countdown timer showed 18 hours remaining. What happens when it reaches 0? Lisa asked. The Guardian's image looked directly at them, as if it could see through the screen. Then you must choose. Remain weak and hope for mercy, or remember what it means to be human. The screen went dark, leaving them in the blue glow of the facility's lights. Above them, alien fleets were gathering. Around them, ancient human technology was awakening after 50 millennia of sleep. Maya realized that their simple archaeological expedition had become something much more dangerous. They hadn't just discovered an old ruin. They had triggered the return of humanity's forgotten past, and the galaxy was preparing for war. Captain Nick Foster stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force ship Horizon, watching the scanner displays with growing concern. 37 alien vessels had gathered at the edge of the Kepler 442 system, and more were arriving every hour. Captain, his communication officer called out, "We're receiving a priority message from Earth Command. Admiral Patricia Wells wants to speak with you directly." Nick activated the secure channel. Admiral Wells appeared on the screen, her face showing the stress of the situation. "Captain Foster," she began, "what exactly did our people find down there?" "We're not sure yet, Admiral. Dr. Rodriguez and her team are still investigating. But whatever it is, it's got every alien species in the galaxy worried. Worried enough to send battle fleets," Wells replied grimly. "Nick, I need you to understand something. In the past 12 hours, we've received formal protests from every major alien government. They're demanding that we leave Kepler-4 to be immediately and never return." Nick felt his stomach drop. What are they so afraid of? "I don't know, but I'm sending reinforcements. The fleet will arrive in 6 hours. Until then, you're on your own." The transmission ended, leaving Nick to wonder what his small crew had stumbled into. Below on the planet, Dr. Rodriguez and her team were uncovering secrets that seemed to terrify beings from across the galaxy. In the underground facility, Maya Rodriguez was trying to understand the historical records that the Guardian system had shown them. The chamber was filled with screens displaying information in the ancient human language. With Jake Thompson and Lisa Park's help, she was slowly translating the incredible story. "According to this," Maya said, pointing to a screen full of symbols, "humans were once a major galactic power. We had colonies on thousands of worlds." Jake shook his head in disbelief. "That's impossible. We barely have 30 colonies now, and most of them are research stations." "The records show a massive war," Lisa added, reading from another screen. "Something called the Great Convergence War. It lasted for over a century." Maya found a section that made her blood run cold. It says here that the alien species formed an alliance against humanity. "They called us the Endless Swarm because we reproduced so quickly and spread so fast." "Why haven't we heard about any of this?" Jake asked. Before Maya could answer, the Guardian's voice filled the chamber. "Because your ancestors chose to forget. The war was going badly. Humanity was losing. Rather than face extinction, they made a deal. The screens showed images of the final battle. Massive human ships fighting against even larger alien fleets. Cities burning on distant worlds. Millions of refugees fleeing toward the outer rim of the galaxy. The deal was simple, the Guardian continued. Humanity would abandon its colonies and retreat to a single world. In exchange, the aliens would allow them to survive. But there was a condition: all memory of human technology and power had to be erased. Maya stared at the images of humans loading onto evacuation ships. They came to Earth. Earth was chosen because it was far from the galactic center. A primitive world where humans could start over. Your ancestors used advanced technology to erase their own memories, to make their descendants forget what they had been. But why build these facilities if they wanted to forget everything? Lisa asked. The Guardian's image appeared on the main screen. Because they were not fools. They knew that someday, humanity would return to the stars. When that happened, the aliens might not honor the old agreement. These facilities were built as insurance, hidden across the galaxy in case humanity ever needed to remember its true nature. Jake looked around the chamber with new understanding. This is a weapon. This is a choice, the Guardian corrected. Your ancestors built these facilities to give their descendants options. You can remain as you are, peaceful explorers seeking knowledge, or you can reclaim your heritage and become what you once were. Maya felt the weight of the decision. What were we? What did we become that scared the entire galaxy? The screens showed new images. Human fleets moving through space like schools of fish. Human colonies spreading across worlds at incredible speed. Human technology that could terraform planets in decades instead of centuries. You were survivors, the Guardian said. The most adaptable species the galaxy had ever seen. While other races remained on their homeworlds for thousands of years, humans spread everywhere. You learned, you adapted, you overcame every challenge. That doesn't sound scary, Lisa said. It was to them, the Guardian replied, because you never stopped growing. Other species reach a point where they are satisfied with what they have. Humans never did. You always wanted more worlds, more knowledge, more challenges to overcome. The countdown timer showed 8 hours remaining. What happens when it reaches 0? Maya asked. Every facility in the galaxy will receive a signal. They will know that humanity has been given the choice to remember. If you choose to remain as you are, the facilities will shut down forever. If you choose to reclaim your heritage, they will begin the awakening process. Jake looked worried. Awakening process. The facilities contain everything your ancestors stored away. Technology, weapons, knowledge, even genetic templates for rebuilding the human population to its former strength. Within a year, humanity could reclaim its place as a galactic power. Maya understood now why the alien fleets were gathering. They weren't just afraid of what humans might become. They were afraid of what humans had already been. There's something else, the Guardian said. The choice cannot be made by your governments or your leaders. It can only be made by humans who carry the genetic markers of the original builders. You, Dr. Rodriguez, are a direct descendant of one of the facility's creators. Maya felt the chamber spinning around her. Me. The final decision rests with you. Your DNA signature is the key that will either activate all the facilities or shut them down permanently. Above them, on the surface, Captain Foster was dealing with increasingly aggressive alien communications. The Zephyrian fleet had moved closer to the planet, and their commander was demanding immediate human withdrawal. Captain, his tactical officer reported, the alien ships are powering up their weapons. They're preparing to fire on the planet. Nick activated the emergency channel to the underground team. Dr. Rodriguez, you need to get out of there now. The aliens are about to attack. Maya's voice came through the communicator, filled with strain. We can't leave yet, Captain. We're in the middle of something important. more important than staying alive. Maybe, Maya replied. Captain, what I'm about to tell you is going to sound crazy, but humanity used to be a major galactic power. These facilities are left over from that time. The aliens are here because they're afraid we're going to remember who we used to be. Nick looked at his crew. They were all staring at him with expressions of disbelief. Dr. Rodriguez, are you feeling all right? You've been exposed to a lot of unknown technology. I'm fine, Captain. But I need you to understand something. In about 7 hours, I'm going to have to make a choice that will affect the entire human race. And I need to know what you and your crew think we should do. The Guardian's voice came through the communicator, speaking directly to the ship's crew. Captain Foster, your ancestors were warriors who fought to protect humanity's future. They built these facilities so that their descendants would never again face extinction helplessly. The choice is simple. Remain weak and hope for mercy, or remember your strength and take your place among the stars. Nick felt something stirring in his chest, a feeling he had never experienced before. It was like a memory of something he had never lived, a dream of battles fought by people he had never met. What exactly are you asking us to choose? He said. Whether humanity will rise again, the Guardian replied, or fade away forever. The countdown timer showed 6 hours and 37 minutes. Above them, the alien fleets were preparing for war. Below them, the sleeping giant was waiting for humanity's answer. Admiral Patricia Wells stood in the command center on Luna Base, watching the tactical display with growing horror. The alien fleet at Kepler 44 had grown to over 60 ships, and intelligence reports showed more fleets gathering at strategic points throughout human space. Ma'am, her aide, Lieutenant Emma Grant, approached with a worried expression. We're receiving communications from the Zephyrian Council. They want to speak with you directly. Put them through, Wells ordered. High Arbiter, Kethver formed. Form appeared on the screen. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by obvious fear and anger. Admiral Wells, he began, his voice trembling. Your species has awakened something that should have remained buried forever. You must withdraw from Kepler 44 immediately and allow us to contain this threat. Wells kept her voice steady. What threat? Our people have found some old ruins. That's hardly a reason for military action. Old ruins. Kethver's eyes widened. Admiral, do you truly not know what your ancestors were? Do you not remember the Great Convergence War? I have no idea what you're talking about. The alien leader seemed to age before her eyes. Then the memory wipe was more complete than we hoped, Admiral. 50,000 years ago, your species nearly conquered the entire galaxy. They were stopped only by the combined efforts of every other spacefaring race. The facilities your people have found are weapons of incredible power. Wells felt her blood run cold. Weapons. Each facility contains enough firepower to destroy star systems. More importantly, they contain the genetic and technological templates to rebuild the human war machine. If even one facility fully activates, the galaxy will face the same threat that nearly destroyed us before. Before Wells could respond, the communication was interrupted by an emergency alert. Dr. Kevin Ross, Earth's chief xenobiologist, appeared on an auxiliary screen. Admiral, we have a problem. We've detected energy signatures at 17 different locations across human space. They match the readings from Kepler 44 Wells realized the scope of what they were dealing with. 17 facilities. That we know of. There could be more. On Kepler 44 the situation was deteriorating rapidly. Captain Foster watched as the alien fleet took aggressive positions around the planet. His small task force was vastly outnumbered. Captain, his communications officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from the Hegemony War Fleet. General Vexter wants to speak with you. The screen showed a creature that looked like a cross between a lizard and a machine. General Vexter was known throughout the galaxy as a ruthless military commander who had never lost a battle. Human Captain Vexter's voice was like grinding metal. You will order your people to evacuate the planet immediately. If you do not comply, we will be forced to take action. Foster stood straighter. This is a scientific expedition on an uninhabited world. We're not doing anything that threatens anyone. You are awakening the sleeping death, Vexter replied. Your ancestors were a plague upon the galaxy. We will not allow history to repeat itself. The transmission ended, leaving Foster to contemplate their impossible situation. He opened the channel to the underground team. Dr. Rodriguez, how much time do we have left? Maya's voice came through the communicator, strained with exhaustion and fear. 3 hours, Captain. The Guardian is showing us more of the historical records. The scope of what happened is incredible. In the underground chamber, Maya, Jake, and Lisa were overwhelmed by the information flowing from the ancient systems. The screens showed battle after battle, world after world falling to human expansion. Your ancestors were not evil, the Guardian explained. They were simply very good at surviving. When they found a world they needed, they took it. When they encountered resistance, they overcame it. When they faced extinction, they chose to hide rather than die. But why are the aliens so afraid of us now? Lisa asked. We're nothing like what these records show. Because genetics do not change, the Guardian replied. You are the same species that once dominated the galaxy. You have the same potential for growth, the same adaptability, the same refusal to accept defeat. The only difference is that you have forgotten what you are capable of. Jake was studying the technical specifications displayed on one of the screens. These weapons systems are incredible. Each facility has enough firepower to sterilize a planet. The facilities were not built as weapons, the Guardian corrected. They were built as arcs. Each contains everything needed to rebuild human civilization, technology, genetic templates, cultural knowledge, and yes, the means to defend yourselves. Maya looked at the countdown timer. 2 hours and 43 minutes remained. What happens if I choose to activate the facilities? Within days, every human in the galaxy will begin to remember. The genetic locks placed on your minds will release. You will recall technologies that your ancestors deliberately forgot. More importantly, you will remember what it feels like to be apex predators. The chamber shuddered as explosions echoed from above. The alien fleet had begun their attack. Captain Foster, Maya called through the communicator. What's happening up there? They're firing warning shots, Foster replied. But I don't think they're going to stay warnings much longer. The Guardian's image appeared on the main screen. The time for decision approaches. But first, you must understand the full consequences of your choice. New images appeared on the screens. They showed human colonies throughout the galaxy, peaceful research stations, and trading posts. Then they showed what would happen if the facilities activated. Your people will change, the Guardian said. The peaceful explorers you have become will remember that they are the descendants of conquerors. Some will embrace this knowledge, others will reject it. Your species will face a civil war, unlike anything in galactic history. Maya felt sick, and if I choose not to activate them, the facilities will shut down permanently. Humanity will remain as it is, a minor species exploring the galaxy at the mercy of others. But the aliens will not forget what you found here. They will never again trust humans completely. Your expansion will be watched, limited, controlled. Jake looked at the tactical displays showing the alien fleet. They're not going to let us leave here alive, are they? No, the Guardian replied. General Vexter has decided that the risk is too great. He will destroy this facility and everyone in it to ensure that humanity never learns the truth. The facility shuddered again as more explosions hit the surface. Emergency lights began flashing throughout the chamber. Captain Foster, Maya called. urgently. How long until they break through? Maybe an hour, Foster replied. My ships are trying to hold them off, but we're outnumbered 10-1. Maya stared at the countdown timer. 1 hour and 57 minutes, until she had to make her choice. But it looked like General Vexter was going to make the choice for her. There is another option, the Guardian said quietly. What? I can activate the facility's defensive systems. Just this one facility. It would be enough to protect you from the current threat. Maya looked at Jake and Lisa. They were both watching her with expressions of trust and fear. What would that involve? A demonstration, the Guardian replied. The aliens would see what humanity was capable of. They would understand that you are not the helpless species they believed you to be. The facility shook again, more violently. This time, dust fell from the ceiling as the alien bombardment intensified. Do it, Maya said. Are you certain? Once I activate the defenses, there will be no hiding what this facility is. The galaxy will know that humanity has rediscovered its buried past. Maya looked at the countdown timer. 1 hour and 43 minutes remained. Above them, Captain Foster and his crew were about to die trying to protect a discovery that might doom or save the human race. I'm certain, she said. The Guardian nodded. Defensive systems activating. All personnel should prepare for combat operations. The chamber filled with a deep humming sound as systems that had slept for 50,000 years came to life. Above them, the alien fleet was about to learn why their ancestors had feared humanity enough to bury its memory beneath time itself. The ground beneath Kepler 442b began to move. Captain Foster watched in amazement as the planet's surface split open in perfect geometric patterns. From the depths rose structures that defied everything he knew about human technology. Captain, his tactical officer called out, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the planet. Something big is coming online. A tower of dark metal emerged from the ground, reaching toward the stars. Its surface was covered in the same strange symbols that Dr. Rodriguez had found in the underground chamber. As it rose, it began to glow with blue energy. General Vexter's voice crackled over the communication channel. Human vessel, what is that structure? Foster stared at the tower in wonder. I have no idea. Shut it down immediately, or we will destroy your ship. I don't control it, Foster replied honestly. The tower reached its full height, nearly 10 kilometers tall. Then it began to charge. The blue glow intensified until it was visible from space. The alien fleet backed away from the planet. Their sensors screaming warnings about the energy levels they were detecting. In the underground chamber, Maya watched the defensive systems come online. The screens showed the tower's status as it prepared to fire. What exactly is it going to do? She asked the Guardian. Demonstrate restraint, the Guardian replied. Your ancestors learned that sometimes the threat of force is more powerful than force itself. The tower fired a single pulse of energy that shot across space faster than light. It struck the lead hegemony cruiser, a massive warship that had been preparing to bombard the planet. The pulse passed through the ship's shields as if they weren't there. For a moment, nothing happened. Then every system on the cruiser shut down. The ship went dark, floating helplessly in space. What did you do? Maya asked. I disabled their vessel without harming the crew, the Guardian explained. The pulse disrupted their power systems and weapons but left their life support intact. It is a warning. General Vexter's voice came through the communication system, filled with rage and fear. Impossible. Our shields should have stopped that. Your shields were designed to stop conventional weapons, the Guardian replied, its voice broadcasting across all frequencies. This is not conventional technology. The alien fleet began to retreat, pulling back to a safer distance. But Maya could see on the tactical displays that they were regrouping, preparing for a larger assault. They're calling for reinforcements, she said. Yes, the Guardian agreed. And now you understand why your choice is so important. This single facility has neutralized one ship, but there are hundreds of alien vessels gathering in this system. If you activate all the facilities, humanity will have the power to defend itself against any threat. Jake looked at the countdown timer. 37 minutes remained, but we'll also have the power to conquer the galaxy again, he said. If you choose to, the Guardian replied. The facilities will give you options. What you do with those options will define what humanity becomes. Above them, Captain Foster was receiving urgent communications from Admiral Wells on Luna Base. Nick, the Admiral's voice was tense. We're tracking over 200 alien ships, heading for your position. Every major power in the galaxy is sending forces, Admiral. I think we've found something that changes everything. The ruins Dr. Rodriguez discovered aren't just old buildings. They're weapons, and they respond to human commands. How powerful. Foster looked at the hegemony cruiser floating dead in space. Powerful enough to disable a capital ship with a single shot. And according to the readings, this is just one facility. There are others. Admiral Wells was quiet for a long moment. Nick, I need to know. Are we looking at a threat or an opportunity? I think we're looking at a choice, Admiral. And Dr. Rodriguez is the one who has to make it. In the underground chamber, Maya was studying the historical records with new understanding. The Great Convergence War hadn't been a simple conquest. It had been a fight for survival that had lasted over a century. Show me how it ended, she said to the Guardian. The screens displayed the final battle. Massive human fleets facing an alliance of every other spacefaring species. The humans were outnumbered 100 to 1, but they were winning through superior technology and tactics. Your ancestors could have continued fighting, the Guardian explained. They could have destroyed the alien alliance and claimed the galaxy. Instead, they chose to negotiate. Why? Because they understood that victory through destruction is not truly victory. They chose to preserve both humanity and the other species by accepting exile. Maya saw the wisdom in that choice. Her ancestors had been powerful enough to rule the galaxy, but wise enough to know that ruling through fear would eventually lead to their own destruction. But they also chose to prepare for the future. The Guardian continued. They built these facilities because they knew that someday humanity would face extinction again. They gave you the tools to survive, but they also gave you the wisdom to choose how to use them. The countdown timer showed 15 minutes remaining. What happens to the other facilities if I choose not to activate them? They will shut down permanently. The technology will be lost forever. Humanity will remain as it is, a minor species, hoping that the galaxy will allow it to survive. Maya looked at Jake and Lisa. They were both watching her with expressions of trust and fear. What do you think? She asked them. Jake was quiet for a moment. I think our ancestors were smarter than we gave them credit for. They didn't just bury their weapons. They buried the choice about whether to use them. Lisa nodded. The question isn't whether we should become conquerors again. The question is whether we should have the ability to defend ourselves. Maya understood. The facilities weren't just weapons. They were insurance. A guarantee that humanity would never again face extinction helplessly. There's a third option, she said suddenly. What? The Guardian asked. We activate the defensive systems, but disable the offensive capabilities. We remember how to protect ourselves, but we don't remember how to conquer others. The Guardian considered this. It would be possible. The facilities can be configured to provide defensive technology only, but once the other species see what you are capable of, they will always fear what you might become. Let them fear, Maya said, but let them also see that we choose restraint when we have the power to choose otherwise. The countdown timer showed 3 minutes remaining. Captain Foster, Maya called through the communicator. Are you ready to see what humanity was capable of? As ready as I'll ever be, Foster replied. Maya placed her hand on the activation panel. The surface was warm beneath her palm, responding to her DNA signature. Guardian. Configure all facilities for defensive operations only. Activate the knowledge archives and the protective systems, but seal away the conquest protocols permanently. Confirmed, the Guardian replied. This choice cannot be undone. I understand. Maya pressed her palm against the panel. The facility came alive around them, systems that had waited 50,000 years finally fulfilling their purpose. Across the galaxy, 16 other facilities received the signal and began their own awakening. On Luna Base, Admiral Wells watched, as every human in the command center suddenly stopped what they were doing. Their eyes went wide, as genetic locks released and buried memories began to surface. Admiral, Dr. Ross said, his voice filled with wonder. I remember things my ancestors knew, technologies they developed, strategies they used. Wells felt it too, knowledge flowing into her mind like water into a dry riverbed. Not memories of conquest and war, but memories of survival and adaptation. The knowledge of how to build better ships, better shields, better ways to explore and protect. At Kepler 44 to be. The alien fleet watched in amazement as 17 towers of dark metal rose from planets across human space. Each tower glowed with blue energy, a clear sign that humanity had remembered its true nature. But they also saw something else. The towers were pointing outward, toward the edges of human space. They were defensive positions, not offensive weapons. General Vexter's voice came through the communication system, filled with confusion. The facilities are active, but they're not targeting us. Hi, Arbiter, Kethver's voice joined the conversation, because they have chosen restraint. The humans have remembered their power, but they have also remembered their wisdom. Maya emerged from the underground chamber with Jake and Lisa. The planet's surface had been transformed. The facility was now visible as a gleaming complex of towers and defensive systems. But the weapons were all pointed away from the alien fleet. Captain Foster, she called over the communicator. Please send a message to the alien fleet. Tell them that humanity remembers what it was, but chooses to be something better. Foster nodded. What should I tell them about the future? Maya looked at the stars, where human colonies were now protected by the same ancient technology that had once threatened to conquer the galaxy. Tell them that humanity is back, she said. But this time, we're not here to conquer. We're here to protect what we've built and explore what we haven't discovered yet. The alien fleet began to withdraw, but not in defeat. They were retreating in respect. Humanity had proven that it could choose peace when it had the power to choose war. Dr. Rodriguez had made her choice, and with it, she had defined what humanity would become. Not conquerors, but guardians. Not rulers, but explorers. Not the sleeping giants of the past, but the wise children of the future. The galaxy would never again underestimate humanity. But more importantly, humanity would never again underestimate itself.